So the Final Fantasy XVI State of Play took place today, and wow, I'm absolutely buzzing with hype and adrenaline at all of the new stuff we saw today. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it. Now, about 85 to 90% of what was discussed in today's State of Play was stuff we already knew. It was mostly a truncated recap of the PAX East panel that took place a few weeks ago. Stuff showcasing the world map, fast travel, and a review of Clive's bio. So if you'd like to learn more about that stuff, I did a full breakdown video of that panel if you'd like to check it out. As for the new stuff, we got tons of new gameplay of young Clive and older Clive with his companions fighting alongside him. We learned that there will also be a flashback sequence that occurs where you play as a young Clive from the events before and during the attack on Joshua. So we'll see in depth how those situations shape Clive as a character. One cool new tidbit that I don't think was mentioned before is that during the flashback we'll get to play as Joshua. We see Joshua casting magic on enemies while also being accompanied by an AI guard. Being able to control Joshua before he transforms into Phoenix could be really exciting, and it might give us a preview of some more powerful spells we could get access to later in the game. There's also a brief cutscene of Clive working with a group of soldiers as they move to capture the dominant for Shiva, which I'm pretty sure is Jill. The mission seems to go sideways, and I think this is where the flashback sequence may kick in. Also, shout out to Soken and the beautiful and epic soundtrack. The battle theme alone is already stuck in my head, and the theme that plays in the hideaway footage in the forest area of the game sounds so beautiful and mellow, and it provides the perfect atmosphere for the world. This soundtrack will definitely be a standout in the already astonishing pantheon of Final Fantasy music. Up next, we dove more into combat with new footage of some of Clive's icon abilities. Clive is zipping and dipping all around the map with his Odin abilities, and we get this really awesome Rama attack where Clive selects a group of targets and unleashes a barrage of lightning bolts their way. We even get a glimpse of Clive using what looks like a Mega Flare attack from Bahamut. They also mention that your companion AI will be dynamic and adapt to Clive's performance. We also see tons of Jill combat as she uses a myriad of Shiva's ice abilities in battle. At one point, they even show a cinematic where Jill is in a semi-Shiva mode, which leads me to believe that this could be a glimpse of her limit break. At least, that's what I hope that was. There's also an insane moment where an enemy hits Clive with an Azuna drop that looks so gnarly, so even the human enemies are going to be able to pull off some really cool stuff. We also finally see Clive fighting Barnabas in his dominant form. He's covered in this blue neon light-esque looking armor that looks stunning. It's nice to finally get some of that footage too of that encounter because it feels like it's been so sparse. Clive will also tackle Hugo, the dominant for Titan. One of my favorite moments took place during Clive's battle with Titan, where Clive straight up goes blue mage mode and learns Titan's own attack and throws it back at him. It's a literal two can play this game moment, and it felt supremely badass.
Nice trick. But if you can do it, then so could I!
There's more Phoenix footage, this time where he's battling Bahamut in that Panzer Dragoon style of gameplay. The montage of enemies is pretty astounding so far. There's even a Final Fantasy XIV looking fight against the liquid flame in this molten lava arena. The locales in this game are going to be nuts. Now, one thing that's worried a few people are the QTE sequences, but thankfully these aren't of the half-assed variety. They're there to help initiate the next phase of a fight. Final Fantasy VII Remake did something similar, but without the QTEs, where once you did enough damage to an enemy, a cutscene would play to move you to the next phase of the fight. It's the same in 16, except the QTEs are there to keep the player engaged in the fight, so I wouldn't worry too much about those. Next, we saw the icon ability skill tree where the new abilities can be learned. What's nice here is there's an option for those of us who sometimes get options paralysis and can't decide on what to upgrade next. There will be a handy auto upgrade option where the game will pick an upgrade for you. Next, we had a recap of the story-focused and action-focused modes. What's nice about these options is that the difficulty, enemies, and combat do not change in story-focused mode. It'll be just as challenging as the action mode, but with the story mode, you'll automatically start out with those timely accessories that will aid you in combat. We also learned that Cid's hideout, the Hideaway, are the remains of the ancient civilization of the Fallen. We even get a glimpse of Clive fighting an enemy from the Fallen called the Control Node, so I genuinely think this group may play a bigger role in the story than we're being led to believe. The Arete Stone's training mode was also shown off. It's something straight out of a fighting game's training mode. You'll have the ability to change a large amount of parameters for your training sessions too, like Clive's invincibility, Torgal's actions, right down to what enemy you want to face and their behavior. Side quests and hunts will also be a major part of the game, with Clive being able to take on different jobs to locate and defeat specific enemies around the world map. We are also introduced to the game's lore keepers, Harpocrates and Vivian Ninetails. I will affectionately refer to Harpocrates as Harpocrates. Harpocrates will recount Clive's adventures unlocking new lore for the world, and Vivian will act sort of like an encyclopedia on the game's characters, events, and state of the realm. Yoshi P ends the presentation by saying there will be even more information in the coming weeks, which is absolutely insane to me. Personally, I feel that they've shown off more than enough of this game, and it really doesn't need more trailers or info dumps. We do know that the demo for 16 will release 2 weeks before the game launches, which will be something great to look forward to. I also suspect there will be at least 2 more trailers, 1 story trailer and a final launch trailer. Now, if you are new to the Final Fantasy and Square Enix community, maybe 16 is going to be your first Final Fantasy, we do have a rule that a lot of us like to follow, and that's we do not watch Square Enix launch trailers. Why is that, you might ask? Well, because 9 times out of 10, Square Enix launch trailers contain massive story and gameplay spoilers. It happened in 2020 with the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake. The launch trailer released, and everyone immediately was like, do not watch this trailer. Avoid it at all costs. That trailer contained massive spoilers from the game's final act, which was absolutely baffling to me that they would include that in a trailer. Because of that, I will likely not cover the game's launch trailer, and I would encourage you all to skip it as well. Now, the one glimmer of hope here is that Yoshi P has been heavily involved with this game's marketing, so there is a possibility that he is working with Square to ensure that the trailer remains as spoiler-free as possible. So it'll essentially be a waiting game in regards to covering that trailer. With that being said, that's the video. I tried my best to do a quick and concise breakdown of that 25-minute video, but again, I will leave the full presentation in the description below if you'd like to check it out for yourself. It's 25 minutes long in 4K and it looks bananas. I am Curious Corduroy. Please leave any of your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What did you think of this Final Fantasy XVI state of play? Are you impressed? Are you hyped? Are you still kind of on the fence? Let me know what you guys think down below. I will see you guys in the next video. Please remember to always be excellent to one another.